Now, if you are trying to save money, now's a
Yes.
good time because people are buying their homes. You might need it for your mortgage.
Nice.
Bruce Sellery, everyone. We're talking mortgages. Spring home buying.
What do you think?
I like it.
You notice the lights? The lights are actually flickering.
I notice a lot going on right now on your head.
Yeah, a lot going
So
on.
there's blue, there's fur, there's
Yeah.
lights, it's flashing. We're talking about spring home buying. What's with the hat?
The hat is so
What's going
key
on?
to my metaphor here because choosing a hat is so important to have one that fits, right?
Yes, it is.
Choosing a mortgage needs to fit too.
Ooh.
Whoa. Wow, everybody,
was
come
so
on.
worth
Yeah.
it.
So you want a
Yes.
mortgage that fits in terms of the amount, in terms of the rate, and in terms of the features. And it's springtime. People are thinking about real estate. I don't know about you, nothing more. I love nothing more than a good open house. I love going to open houses.
It's great. They're fun. I mean, they're kind of voyeuristic, right? I try and limit the amount of open houses I go to because people are just like, you're not looking for a house.
I thought you were going to say, I tried to limit the number of drawers I open when I go into an open house.
I will not open your drawers.
Will you
I
open
promise.
cupboards?
Maybe.
Yeah, just to see how
the
much
closet.
space.
Yeah,
so
just
this
a
is
little
real estate time of year. It's also mortgage time of year.
Yes.
And in order to find one that fits, we need to bust 3 myths.
Okay, what are the myths?
Interest rates will be 3% forever. Now, for those of you in the audience, be honest, do you remember the time when mortgage rates were like 15, 18%? Some of you are nodding. You remember.
My parents were having a hard time in those
People who are buying their
days.
first home today or renewing their mortgage think that mortgage rates, it's like sub 3%, and that's just the way the world is. It isn't that way.
Yeah.
When you have a mortgage, you are renting money. So some of your payment goes to your principal, but most of it in the beginning goes to interest. So when rates are 3%, hooray, buy that amazing house. But what happens when you renew and that rate is 5%? What about 10 years down the road when it's 7%? That affects your monthly payment quite dramatically. And where are you going to find the extra $400?
So we can't take solace in the fact that the Bank of Canada wouldn't always have our back and just keep lowering those rates because we will all go to the poorhouse when they go up to double digits again.
Here's the thing
there
people
would be
don't
a
appreciate.
crisis.
There certainly would. And here's the thing that we don't appreciate about low rates. They're low because there's a concern about the economy. They're not low because it's Christmas. They're low because we're concerned about the economy and we need people to keep spending and borrowing and all that kind of stuff. So it'll be a bad thing for homeowners and mortgage holders when rates rise, but it won't necessarily be a bad thing for the economy because things are actually moving apace.
Got it. Okay.
Ready for myth number 2?
Yeah, myth number 2.
Myth number 2 is about the affordability calculators. Have you ever done one of these online?
Oh my gosh. I was reading the notes and I didn't know what those were.
So if you go online, you search how much can I afford? And a lot of people think, oh my gosh, I can totally afford $1 million house. Hooray for me. Those calculators are for the lender, not for the consumer. So what they're checking is whether or not you're going to default on your loan. Because your mortgage is the last thing you won't pay. You won't pay your grandma the $5,000 you owe her. No way. But you'll pay your mortgage because you don't want to lose your house. So what you need to do, sure, that's going to help you figure out how much mortgage you can get. But that's not the same thing as how much house you can afford. And to figure that out, you need to look at your cash flow. So you've got this amount coming in from your salary. You've got this amount going out for property taxes and maintenance and your cable subscription and whatever else it is. Can you afford $1,900 or can you afford $2,300? What's the cash flow impact? And that has a huge, it's a hugely important thing when you figure out how much mortgage you can actually take on.
So you shouldn't be maxing yourself out and saying this is the ceiling of what I can afford, so let me go for it.
Well,
and that's the house I'm going to get.
If you do that, know that you're making a trade-off. And most people don't know that they're making a trade-off because the calculator says they can afford it. And then when the rubber hits the road and it's time to do things like save for retirement, save for an RESP for their kids, save for a vacation, all those kinds of things that we either need to put money into or want to put money into, and there's nothing left because it's all going to the mortgage.
Right, and then you get all upset about the fact that your life isn't working out the way you wanted it to.
Yeah,
and it's because
but I love my granite countertops.
I really love them.
And I love granite
sleep on
countertops
them.
too, absolutely. But you can't eat them when you're retired.
No, they don't
Granite
taste
is
good.
it's mealy. It's
it is a little hard on the teeth, right?
Yeah, can't do it.
Okay, so let's talk about how we need to be realistic about this a little bit. What do you need to go in there knowing then?
Well, you need to know that I'm going to put on my Scottish tam. This is my Queen's University tam. This totally fits. I've had this since undergrad. You want to be, to use the Scottish stereotype about always finding a bargain.
Yeah.
When it's time to look for a mortgage, shop around.
Right.
So many people I talk to say, oh, I love my guy at the bank. I just go to the bank. And they'll say, yeah, I love my guy at the bank, and he gave me a mortgage rate of like 3.5%. I'm thinking, 3.5%? No one pays 3.5%.
Yeah.
You've got to be very astute about the rates. You like this out of me.
I really do. Like, I'm not really concentrating on anything you're saying.
So I better take it off because I want you to listen about mortgages. So the rate is really important, and you need to shop around. The other thing that's really important are features. So all mortgages are not created equal.
Yeah.
There is something called prepayments, right? So if you're someone who might get a bonus at work, or maybe you're going to get an inheritance, you want to make sure that you're allowed to prepay. If you get a raise at work, instead of going and spending it on something like granite countertops to upgrade your kitchen, you might want to increase the amount that you put onto your mortgage every month. So having that flexibility is important. Some people also want to take payment vacations. So that's, maybe I know, you're like, I want a vacation from my mortgage for life. If you're a professor or something and you take a sabbatical and you're not going to have income, or you're going to have a maternity leave and your income will drop, a payment vacation can allow you to stop paying your mortgage or pay a limited mortgage for a period of time. It will cost you, but for some people that makes a ton of sense. Another feature, you might want an improvement loan built in. So you buy this great house, it needs work.
Right.
So build that into the mortgage. You'll need to submit some receipts to the lender, but then you can renovate the basement and all will be well.
Okay, very cool.
You've
just
got this
one more
quizzical
thing.
expression on it. Is because I haven't worn the crown yet?
That's why.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, see, the quizzical expression is gone now.
Is it?
No, I'm just happy.
And
so
now you can't
one last thing I wanted to ask you about is, do you believe in getting a broker for your mortgage, the person that will go out there and find the best rate for you? Is that a good thing?
Yes.
Okay.
I do. Now, I happen to love my mortgage broker because he's amazing, but they will shop around, and they're paid a commission. This is not free, but they aren't incented by a particular institution. And the thing that they will talk to you about are something called secondary lenders, which I had no idea when I got my first mortgage that there was anyone else but the big banks. But there are other lenders who can be more aggressive. And find a great broker because they can do a lot for you.
Absolutely, they're shrewd. All right, thank you, Bruce, and
really
thank you, Money Sense Magazine.
Yeah,
I think I would.
You
my
totally
hairstylist is gonna kill me.
Oh,
Let's go to break.
You
More coming up.
Oh,
it's gonna be so mad.